Sorry I had to wake everyone up so early. But you gotta get on the road. You gotta get on Route 128 before 8:30 a.m. That's never fun, is it? Come on, Steve. We saw the sunrise at 5:30. Been up for more than an hour, and boy, was it pretty. There was a little hole in the clouds. It had begun to rain lightly. Thought I was gonna see a rainbow there for a second. And I think it just stopped raining. 68 degrees. It says the sun is out, right? 73 indoors, but I gotta tell you, we've had the AC going on. Even though it's 68 outdoors, it's been very sticky. 30.12 on the barometer, and it's higher than it's been in the last couple days. 6:30, July 24th, and T-Rex is always ready to go. Has it stopped raining? Uh-oh, I forget to put T-Rex on his leash. You're not gonna go anywhere on me, are you, T-Rex? Steve, you coming out? Come on out, Steve. It's done raining. Not that he cares about the rain that much. There's some exciting things to see out here, Steve. We gotta start this day. We have a long day. Come on, Steve. Come on. You come. Oh boy, this is frustrating already. Mitt was upstairs. I should ask Mitt if he wanted to come out. Looks like he did. All right, first of all, down the end of the jetty, or is it a groin? What's the difference between a groin and a jetty? We've got the almost ubiquitous snowy egret, part of the heron family. And we also have a great blue heron, I do believe. And they traded places. The white one was out at the end just a few minutes ago. And then the blue one walked out there, and I think the blue one is in charge. Blue, gray, that's the color of the sky today. Blue and gray, more gray than blue. But yesterday, late in the day, it really cleaned up nicely for a beautiful late day right over Boston. All right, Steve is outside. I can close the door, which doesn't make any noise. Should I bring T-Rex's leash to him? I think I should. Rex, look at the hair on his back. He's all haired up. What, something go up our stairs last night? Come on, Rex. Yeah, there's a crow. Chase the crow. Okay. Dual fronts stalled, one south of New England, one north of New England. Big picture radar shows rainfall from Texas just up to southern New England. And then there's another batch of rain from the Great Lakes into Ontario and Quebec. Dual fronts. Look at the lightning. Tremendous amount of lightning off the east coast of the United States. That's the real deep tropical moisture front that is mostly missing us to the south. Remember, over the last several days, we showed that QPF, and it showed tremendous amounts of rain missing us to the south, and that's happening. And we also had that other channel of rain mostly across Canada, and that's happening. Here's a closer up radar, and you see that little spin in the upper left there. Almost looks like a mesoscale convective system that's missing us, those big heavy downpours, and there has been some flash flooding in parts of northern Michigan. And there has been flash flooding in Virginia. And here we are in between. And the satellite imagery shows those overshooting tops well south of New England. Very heavy thunderstorms, probably severe weather over the water. And also some clear sky in northern Vermont. So there are going to be areas of sun today, and there are going to be areas of showers. And the Storm Prediction Center does have New York into just about western Massachusetts and Vermont into the marginal category for severe weather late today. Yesterday, I talked about how it was the anniversary of the Cape Cod tornado and there were going to be no tornadoes. Well, guess what? There was at least a water spout. And, you know, that's a tornado over the water. Charlie the Presti had a viewer, David Pappy, over Sebago Lake yesterday. And he's got the video and the image of a water spout. That's the real deal. Now, those usually don't cause too much damage, say compared to a whale breaching and landing on the stern of your boat and knocking you in the water, which is just remarkable. Everyone's okay. E-Weather says, I have a friend of a friend that was on that boat and everyone's all right. So you wonder what was going on in the mind of a whale. You've all been on whale watches and seen that they are curious. And I think they're very intelligent, so they were either playing and thought they could play with the boat, or maybe they're angry with humans. Why would whales be angry with humans? Let me count the ways. Why would T-Rex be barking at his shadow? Let me count the ways. Come on, Rex, this way. All right, so what can go wrong with the weather forecast? Let me count the ways. There's a lot of room for error. We're just one of those days where we say it's glad it's not winter, because that would have been a quick inch of snow. Planes taking off to the east and then to the south over Boston. I want to show you the velocity azimuth display. What is the air doing? Is it coming from in off the ocean, or is it coming from this way? And, well, both. This morning, the lower 3,000 feet of the atmosphere over Boston, the wind is from the southeast at 10 to 15 knots. Not much, but that's off the ocean. That's a relatively cool, dense layer down by the ground. And then you get up to about 6,000 feet. There's no wind at all. And then you get up to 9,000 feet. Now it's from the southwest. And then you get up to 35 to 40,000 feet, and your wind is from the southwest at 55 to 65 knots. I think I saw one reading at around 40,000 feet, even at 80 knots from the southwest. So that is differential advection. That is warmer, lighter air rising over the top of the colder air that's overrunning. Anything that gets the air to rise can make precipitation, and that was kind of an overrunning batch of precipitation this morning. But there's also the convective type of precipitation, and those would be showers and thunderstorms. I didn't show the surface map with the temperature and dew point yet, but the temperature and dew point pegged close to 63 near Boston and in northern Vermont. So it's a relatively comfortable morning, and the air is from the northeast, from Boston and points south, at the very lowest level of the atmosphere only, with a wave of low pressure going south of us. And in northern New England, a lot of crosses there. That means calm. And the surface analysis this morning shows a 1021 high pressure system over eastern Pennsylvania, flanked by fronts on all sides. Wind is air moving from the center of that high toward the north, toward the front of northern New York, and toward the south, with that front stalled over New Jersey. And we're in between. So what's going to happen today? The Severe Storm Prediction Center, I already mentioned, says there may be some strong to severe storms. So let's time out the HRRR, which did really a bad job trying to depict my rain this morning. But it is what it is. And this is just a kind of a crapshoot here. I guess it does look pretty organized over central New York here about midday or so. And then that comes into western New England, northern Massachusetts, western Vermont about 6, 7 o'clock. That's a line of strong to severe thunderstorms with damaging wind possible. It's progressive enough. It should not cause flash flooding. That decays. Another one tries to form and come into cross the Hudson River into western New England at about 10 or 11 o'clock, and that one also decays. So that is the beginning of new air from Canada starting to come at us, and it's not really going to get in here until tomorrow night and Friday. And if we go to the Boston 5-day meteograph from the Euro, it shows the temperature only about 70 degrees today. Could be the coolest day of the entire month of July here in the Boston area. But away from the shore, if the sun comes out, you're probably closer to 80. And then tonight, the air picks up from the southwest a little bit. The wind shifts, and tomorrow's kind of more of a southwesterly day with the temperature getting back to about 80. The dew point's still fairly high with a shower and a thunderstorm. And then that's sort of a warm front, then a cold front going by tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night. And then Friday, there's that push of northwest wind, but it only lasts for a few hours overnight Thursday night into Friday morning. And by Friday afternoon, there's already a sea breeze developing over Boston, which could keep us cooler, but it's beautiful beach weather, clouds and an intermittent shower possible in the mountains and the higher terrain on Friday. That's cool air advection. And then the weekend looks gorgeous with sunshine, with high temperatures close to 80, dew points in the 50s and 60s, low temperature in the lower 60s. Very comfortable air with sea breezes each day. Oh yeah. Talking about sailing, let's go to the very close-up HRR for the sailing forecast this evening. Kevin, it looks like you're going to stay pretty much light from the east-southeast, and this afternoon about 3 or 4 knots, and maybe 6 or 7 knots from the east-southeast as the tide goes out on you at sunset tonight, and there may be a shower or thunderstorm on the horizon, but I think it looks dry, pretty nice and quiet and tranquil. Good night for the bugs. Speaking of bugs, I love these flowers. Something's eating all the leaves. That should be a massive leaf right there. And I think, is that insects? Can insects eat that much of a leaf? But anyhow, there is a female butternut squash flower. And I think I have these hybrids, because that's not your average looking butternut, is it? I think the bees are kind of cross-pollinating summer squash. Not summer squash, butternut squash, sorry. My summer squash didn't grow, by the way, and pumpkins. And so this morning, in less than 1 hour, we picked up 0.08 inches of rain. So not quite enough to water the garden, but the sedge grass just grows like crazy. So there's some blue sky already starting to show up. All right, now let's see. I want to go to the Euro. We're very long-winded now. We're going to show the Euro with a high pressure system coming in on Friday. And then the high kind of comes right over us over the weekend. Beautiful weekend. And then we're talking all about the heat expanding from the west next week. And there's been a little bit of a change in the guidance, at least for today, for how that's going to advance into New England. Now shows that there may be a front coming through here. Look at those showers and thunderstorms all of a sudden next to Wednesday into Thursday. That would break any heat wave trying to build in here initially, but it's going to be very hot in the middle of the country. We're still seeing that 588 thickness in the middle of the country, but it's always changing every time we look at this. So maybe we don't get extremely hot. Oh, there goes the heron, the great blue heron flying out of here. Does that remind you of dinosaurs or what? Beautiful. When did the dinosaurs disappear? 60 million years ago. That was one of the things we were talking about in our Launch Your Meteorology Career. I think I'm just going to go there now. So it may or may not turn into a heat wave. Probably does around the 1st of August. There's some blue sky out there. The very low clouds coming in from the southeast. Those very high clouds headed toward the northeast. Differential advection. So Chris Gloninger was nice enough to come yesterday and share his expertise on the erosion problems in New England. Specifically, he talked about Cape Cod a lot, and the students really enjoyed this, I believe. Thank you, Chris Gloninger, for coming. Michael Page is coming this morning. So this is called Launch Your Meteorology Career at the Blue Hill Observatory. And I'm going in there this morning, and you can meet some of the students, future meteorologists. There's 6 out of 8 of them I was talking to before they got in the vehicle to go to WBZ, and they get to see the Weather Center and meet Eric Fisher and the team at WBZ. So that's all great. And we're going back today, and we're going to do it again. So here's some more from yesterday there, and back to from the Great Blue Hill to Great Hill in Weymouth, where the sun came out, and it turned into a gorgeous Tuesday evening. All right, how's your Wednesday? Talk to you again tomorrow. Chris is giving out swag. What did he just give you?
Still drops.
Nice. Swag. That's fun. It's good stress relief, too. You can just squeeze the thing if you get stressed.
Dual purpose, yep.
Wow.
For me, it was interesting in Iowa because I'm from the Northeast. I had jobs in the Midwest viewing area.
Say it again.
We had 6 tornadoes on the ground at the same time. So how do you cover that?
Oh my God.
So crazy. Isn't that wild? So what is known as a derecho, and that line of thunderstorms had all of these embedded supercell thunderstorms that were rotating along that entire line. So what we did was we focused on the areas that had the greatest threat, something that looked like this is absolutely on the ground. So we'd look at the correlation coefficient. Have you heard of that term?
Yes.
Okay, so what is falling on the radar? And it's something other than, in order to understand those changes, we've broken this down by rising sea level based on emission scenarios. So admittedly, you can see what we've seen so far isn't quite keeping up with the forecast emissions levels. And from this point to this point is about 1.25 miles. So that is the vulnerable section of shoreline that we were looking at.
I recognize that spot. That's the south side of Cape Cod. Great Island?
Yes.
Sun through the clouds, very light mist. We've got a lot going on here today. We've got groups come from Curry, students on the outside, students on the inside. A busy, productive day at the Blue Hill Observatory. Chris is in there. I'm on a Zoom conference in there. Matt's taking records up there. And a gray day. We're happy it's not too hot today.
Did they do it like right up, or was it like just a really strong storm?
We weren't the firm that designed that, so I don't know how it was designed, but that was a strong and atypical storm. And I think that we need to realize that we're seeing more of these storms that are a little bit more regular to happen and
so
cause
your goal is to
destruction.
build up the beach there?
So you build up the beach. So I was telling them, TK, it's all to design and the slope of the dune that you build. So a gradual slope helps offset wave energy than a slope like this.
Absolutely.
Because then it eats and eats and eats away. So the idea, though, is to put this at the high tide line. So then what happens is when the sand goes out, it goes into the system.
What's your name? Where you from?
Me? I'm future meteorologist Denzel Wilson.
Oh, nice to meet you, Denzel. What's
Nice
your name?
to
Where you
meet
from?
Future meteorologist Matt Lowe from Foxborough, Massachusetts.
Matt.
Future meteorologist Cole Donson from New York
Oh.
City.
Future meteorologist Nathan Fahey from Abington, MA.
Nathan.
Future meteorologist Anita Warch from Central Vermont.
Vermont, land of the floods.
Future meteorologist Mark Murray from Newburyport, Massachusetts.
All right, land of the nor'easter.
Future meteorologist Gemma Paralily from Holden, Mass.
Gemma from Holden, Mass. Great to have you guys. Where are you going now? Going to meet Eric Fisher.
Yeah.
The big time.
Yep.
Going to see WBZ. Captain Don at the wheel, the Blue Hill Observatory. Thank goodness it was a little gray today because the air conditioning in there isn't the best. But it's better than it was. Have a nice trip. Now at 138 feet, more than 500 feet lower than the top of the Great Blue Hill, I'm on Great Hill in Weymouth. And the sun has just come out. Now, after all those hurricanes in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, and maybe even before that, this was all pasture land, and we would be able to see the Great Blue Hill right underneath the sun right now. And even after just cleaning out the trees last year, the view of Boston is already diminished. However, the weather, since leaving Blue Hill this afternoon, has turned beautiful. Look at those cirrus sky waves up there. And the front to the north is weakened, and the front to the south is weakened. And all of a sudden we have a beautiful evening. Turned out way nicer than they said. Oh wait, I'm they. Gorgeous sunset in North Weymouth. Not even too humid. Yeah, so much for that summertime nor'easter. Arr, arr, arr.